let's dive into the agenda here, and I'll introduce myself. So we've got quite a bit of ground to cover here, hopefully within the next 30 to 40 minutes. We're going to be defining what virtual production is for the sake of this conversation. We're going to be explaining what Virtual Production CoLab is. We're going to be introducing all our partners. We're going to be explaining what StudioLab XR is, which is a vital component of this. We're going to be briefly talking about the workshop schedule. We're going to be introducing our trainers and their incredible work. We're going to be telling you how you can get involved, and we're going to be answering some questions because I'm sure there'll be a couple of them. So virtual production is a topic that can kind of elicit a lot of different opinions on what it exactly is. But for the sake of a common vocabulary here today, I'm going to provide the definition provided by Epic Games. So virtual production uses technology to join the digital world with the physical world in real time. It blends traditional filmmaking techniques with modern technology to help creatives achieve their vision. I think that's like a perfect summation in my mind, and that it's not overly technical, but it really kind of encapsulates what we're trying to do here. Is bring the real world together with virtual worlds that we're creating here in Unreal Engine, which I will get into a little bit more in depth further in the presentation. So as way of a quick introduction to myself, the host for today's session, my name is Jonathan Lay. I work for New Media Manitoba, and I am the senior manager at StudioLab XR. Also in the chat with me and kind of manning the Zoom deck is Matt McMahon. He's our Unreal authorized instructor, and he's a huge part of this project as well too. But I'll get into who we are a little bit later because I noticed from the guest list that a lot of people are probably outside of our typical scope of participant. So I'll explain a little bit more of what New Media Manitoba is and why we're here in this conversation in just a few slides. So at a very high level, I want to explain what Virtual Production CoLab is. As we've been building up our studio and our capacity here at New Media Manitoba, we've been really kind of diving deep into the world of virtual production. And we've been super excited, like on our journey, and we've seen that a lot of film and TV professionals are really curious about what this technology is, and how they can potentially start using it as another tool in their creative tool belt. And like it is a very broad category. It has many components, departments, and technology. And this training program in particular is meant to kind of be the first plank in the foundation of a virtual production ecosystem here in the province of Manitoba. Right now, this is a very emerging field here in the province. Of course, it's more established in markets like Toronto or Vancouver, and there's been certainly some talk in the industry, the film production industry, of a studio of scale opening up at some point in time. But we really felt like we needed to kind of get ahead of things and really give Winnipeg-based film and TV professionals the opportunity to interact with the technology, learn about it, and start creating with it, so that they could either start, actualizing their projects here in our space, or be prepared in the future to be working at a studio that will hopefully open up here in the province of Manitoba. So this training program is that attempt to just give everyone a crash course with as many different components to virtual production, and provide as much high-level expertise as we can, and provide the tools, the space, and the people, basically. So the full project is going to include like direct mentorship with industry professionals. It's going to include project development, where you get to take a project and you get to create it on stage here with us at our new facility. There will be a ton of supporting virtual sessions, like where you get to tap in with people who've done some like pretty incredible work in the film and TV industry, but who've also like been on that virtual production journey for the last couple of years, so can really speak to their experience. There's also going to be hands-on classroom sessions as well too, where you can learn the facets of mocap and Unreal and other components of virtual production here, hands-on with once again with industry-leading expertise. I feel very confident in saying this, that I believe, unequivocally, this is the biggest virtual production training program ever to happen in Manitoba. That is a fairly low bar, but we're very excited that we're kind of the first, and like we're swinging for the fences on this. It's not like, hey, let's try something small and see if it works. This really encapsulates a lot of people, and it's been aided by a bunch of partners and a lot of support that I'm going to go into in a little while. But I really believe this might be the biggest and most comprehensive set of virtual production training outside of a dedicated post-secondary program right now in North America. If you want to point me to some links that say otherwise, I'm really happy to look at it. But from my research, this is going to give participants the most hands-on opportunity with that direct connection to people who actually make this stuff. And I'm going to tell you how this is all possible, because it seems like, in my mind, when I say that out loud, I'm like, well, how does all that happen for an industry association like ours to do that? And it's because we're partnering with a bunch of folks who all have really important pockets of expertise, and we're kind of coming together. And the analogy I always like to do is it's kind of like a bunch of little robots that kind of are all coming together to form one giant robot, right? So this program is the giant robot formed by a bunch of incredible partners. And those partners include IATSE 856, who've been just really, really generous with both not only their support, but really their insight on what their members need. Because to be quite frank, film and TV professionals are not our normal constituents. So they've been giving us all sorts of insight into what they think would work best for this program and how it could be aligned. On Screen Manitoba is another key partner on this. So once again, their support is been absolutely critical. DGC Manitoba has also come on board, and this project is going to require some creative minds and some people who can make decisions on set. So we're so excited to have them on board. So for context, New Media Manitoba, which is kind of leading the charge here, we are the sector council for the information and communication and digital technologies side of things. So we're dedicated to supporting the interactive digital media industry. And the shorthand I always use for that is like, we're the games people. And because there's been this convergence of game technology and filmmaking, we're kind of right in the middle of this. And because we're so uniquely situated in leveraging the technology for this production, we've been spearheading this collaboration. I will say that this partnership could absolutely not happen without the support of the province of Manitoba. They have invested in a huge way to make this all possible, and their support has been so encouraging, because they're really kind of thinking proactively about where the industry is going, and they definitely recognize the incredible talent that the film and TV community in Manitoba has, and they see the economic impact that the industry makes to the province, and they want to further support it, and that's why they've been so helpful in getting this project off the ground. So that's who all the partners are. That's who all the little robots are that are making the big robots. And let's carry on. So, in addition to great partners, what kind of makes this project possible now from a logistical point of view is actually having a facility here in the province of Manitoba. And that's something that hasn't existed or only has existed as a conceptual idea for the most part. But about a year and a half ago, New Media Manitoba undertook this project called StudioLab XR. And thanks to the funding of both the federal government and the provincial government, we were able to actually build something. And that something is a 6,000 square foot facility that's kind of sitting behind me in frame right now. And it's located at 201 Portage in the concourse level. In Winnipeg's historic Exchange District or downtown area, depending on how you want to do your map building here in Winnipeg. And its mandate was really to kind of grow the extended reality space or the XR space in the province of Manitoba by creating a place that allowed for collaboration, that provided a bunch of access to tools and technology and to expertise. We kind of realized we need a new approach to learning, applied learning and research, and this facility was kind of our answer to that. So I think we've designed a really interesting space where people can get their hands on stuff and they can learn from our in-house team, but also be connected to people who are in other markets and doing exciting things. So what we did is we took an old TD bank, and over the last 6 months, we have been kind of retrofitting it to our needs. And we have been running some technical training, and we've been putting some technology in place, including, as far as I know, and once again, you can send me an email if I'm wrong on this. The only 3D the only 3D tracked LED wall in the province of Manitoba. So this seemed really easy when I thought about this a year and a half ago, but the reality of making that all happen was incredibly complicated due to technical reasons, due to geopolitical reasons, due to supply chains, pandemics, all sorts of things. But thanks to our incredible team here at New Media Manitoba and our outside partners, we've been able to get going, which has been like really amazing. And what's cool about virtual production, we hear so much of it and we watch, behind the scenes things, and we get really excited about the scope of it at like a big Disney or Marvel level. For me, like coming from more of an independent, like a film background, I'm really excited to see like how the wheels start turning for indie, for more realistic productions here in the province. Our use cases aren't necessarily big Hollywood movies, but the technology and the skills will definitely scale up. So if you can conceptualize it here at a smaller scale, then I think these skills are going to transfer you to whatever studio you're working on, whatever stage comes to Manitoba in the future. For quick reference, right now our LED wall is 24 feet by 11 feet. It's got like I think 2.5 degrees of curvature, and it is fully tracked with the MOSIS camera system. The glue that makes all this happen, and kind of the reason we're here, because we are not in the business of cameras and lights at New Media Manitoba. We are in the business of, usually for the most part, ones and zeros. But the glue that kind of stitches all of virtual production together is Unreal Engine. And right now we are one of the only certified training centers in Canada, like one of two, I believe, and one of only 5 in North America. So Matt McMahon is our authorized instructor, and we've got that professional designation, which means we have a great working relationship with Epic Games, access to all sorts of curriculum and tools, which is really exciting. And we just have their full support on our mandate, which is to train more people in Unreal. And I don't want that to be off-putting. That's not we don't just focus on technical training here. Of course, you're welcome to come and run through as many Unreal courses as we have. But we don't want that to be the barrier to entry, because Unreal is a big program and it can be intimidating. And ultimately, what we want from this project is for people to create with the tools, not to necessarily learn them from inside and out, because that's a very tall order. So our full build includes, as I said, 6,000 square feet, a camera and performance capture system, a fleet of high-performance workstations in the classroom, the mixed reality LED wall that I mentioned with I believe, a 2.6 millimeter pixel pitch, and Matt can correct me if I'm wrong in the notes or in the chat. We have motion capture suits. Those are the Rococo Mark II suits, and we've got a facial capture rig, which I think might also be the only one in the province, which is a Faceware Mark IV. We've got currently 3 human resources, myself, Matt, and an IT support, but we have all sorts of other resources at New Media Manitoba. If you're interested in learning more, you can check out those links and get a little bit more info on both New Media Manitoba and StudioLab. Okay, phew. That was a lot to go through. Let's get into the good stuff here now. Let's talk about the actual like flow of these of Virtual Production CoLab. So none of this is going to be unfamiliar to you if you've ever made a film. There's nothing too different here. But what we're doing with this project is we're going to allow participants to create a short scene in virtual production. So that's taking it right from concept all the way, hopefully, to a screening. So all the little points that you normally do, from scene development to pre-production to on-set prep to on-set shooting to post-production, apply for this. It's just some of the micro steps within those larger steps are a little bit different or a little bit reversed. We are creating a sandbox for participants. We don't want to make it seem like we can do anything. We want to keep the scope of this somewhat achievable. But the idea is that, with 3 scenarios that I'm going to outline in a second, you'll be able to create a short little bit of creative with our mentors in Vancouver, who I'll also introduce shortly, and you'll be able to make a movie. That's the goal, is let's make a movie here. Let's make something cool here at StudioLab within the parameters of our limitations. That is the ultimate goal, and that's what I can't wait to see happen, is because you all know how to make movies. We want you to apply all those skills that you have already and just add a little bit of this new technology into the mix and see what happens. I will just kind of state here right off the gate, though, this is our version 1 of this. This is ground floor, uncharted waters, whatever you want to call it. We're all doing this for the first time. So the magic here, I'm hoping, that happens is by bringing all of our collective knowledge together, we're all going to be collectively learning to use this new medium and hopefully creating something really interesting in the process. As I said, we've got 3 scenarios to choose from. We've got kind of a space hangar, which is kind of like, I guess, like an alien kind of like loading dock type of vibe, I'd say. We've got a European street scene. We've got a concert hall, which gives me kind of Whiplash vibes. So we've got these are the 3 virtual environments that our team at Fish Flight, who I'm going to introduce you to, have created. I will say that, like, when you're working with this, it's not just the digital scenes. Like, we're blending real worlds with digital worlds here. So all the things that you would need to kind of create that illusion are going to be supplied within limits, of course. So that includes practical set dressings, that includes props, that includes actors, that includes lighting, real world lighting. All that stuff is here. Like, the idea is that you don't have to bring everything out. We're giving you all the tools. All we ask from you is potentially your time and your expertise. So we're really excited. This won't be an unfamiliar model for people who are into virtual production and have maybe followed what the DGC National has done in Vancouver with some of their programs, or Epic has done with their fellowship. The big difference, I would say, is the scope of the production, and that we believe we have more practical assets that we're going to be putting in front of the camera, and also we're going to give you not just a very myopic view of virtual production where you're just doing one thing. You get to see everything. You get to be incredibly hands-on, and you get to talk to some really, really strong mentors who've done some incredible stuff during the course of their career. So let's get into our training partners, and we have some of them here in the call, and I'll put them on the mic in a second. But first, I'll just introduce them and play a little bit of their reel, just so you can get a sense of their scope. I will warn you that the sound wasn't working for me, so I might just have to narrate as the movie plays. But hopefully, you can all see stuff. If you can't, just pipe up in the chat. But Fish Flight Entertainment have come on board as our lead trainer and curriculum developer for this. Fish Flight has a list of credits that are as long as my arm, so I'm not going to bore you with that. You can check out their website, which Matt will put into the chat. But they've really been pushing hard on the virtual production and Unreal front in regards to their workflows, and they've just been doing some really stunning work. So I'm going to just play their reel. And then I'm going to get Craig and potentially Paul from Fish Flight just to say a few words. So Craig, welcome. I don't know. I can't see Paul's thumbnail. I don't know if he's on with us.
I believe he is.
Okay.
Yep.
Hey, everyone. Welcome, and thanks so much for joining us. Paul and I are super stoked about this about this project. And I started in virtual production in like 97, 98. I was on one of the first mocap stages. I worked for a company called Mainframe. We did Reboot and Beast Wars and Action Man and stuff like that. So for me, it's super stoked about the fact of where we are with virtual production and where we're going to go, sort of thing. And I've been working with Paul for over 15 years, and it's been such a great journey. And I'll let Paul say a few words here.
Yeah, I mean, I came up through animation and visual effects, started about 20 years ago. I moved into games mainly because as a director, I just felt like if you had to direct music videos in the 90s and commercials in the 80s, maybe in the 21st century, you have to direct video game cinematics to kind of sharpen your tool set as a director. And in the process, I started working with Unreal Engine and started Fish Flight really as I started to see the rise of virtual production as a mainstream way of creating films. And soon after we started Fish Flight, Unreal exploded with lots of different projects. Mandalorian came out a few years later. And ever since then, Fishlight has been Unreal focused boutique studio. What we do is we create content through the Unreal Engine. And it's when I say that virtual production is like a new paradigm, I mean that it's a completely new way of looking at filmmaking. And it's instead of fixing it in post, we're fixing it in prep. And I have this image of Invincible up behind me because as the CG director of season 1 of Invincible, and I directed a few episodes, I found myself using virtual production even on this 2D cartoon that I was directing. There's these huge crowd scenes that we ended up shooting live action people, putting in mocap, and if you look at the Flaxen alien invasion, it's completely mocapped, even though it's a 2D show. So it's really something that you can bring to all of your filmmaking. It helps combine the latest technology with traditional filmmaking techniques, and looking forward to sharing that ethos with all of you.
And also we've been working with people and onboarding them from traditional film roles as well as from digital to digital. And a lot of this is, with virtual sets, virtual production is, if you're coming from a traditional role on sets, it's a pivot sort of thing. And it's just learning some language, right? And how we work together, because virtual production is really an evolution from 100 years ago when they're doing rear projection and glass plates. And then we got into green screen, and now we're into these beautiful LED walls. And what Jonathan and the group have put together this for this stage is amazing. And for Paul and I, we come up through the guerrilla sort of indie sort of worlds, and we love seeing this and just seeing the potential that you can do on these smaller stages, because we've been to the bigger stages and stuff like that, but those are tens and tens of thousands of dollars, right? And just to have a stage available in Winnipeg is pretty amazing for that community.
Darn tootin', Craig. It is pretty amazing. Thank you very much for gassing us up like that. I appreciate it. But wait, that's not more. There's more too. Like we've got Fish Flight, but we also have Beyond Capture studios, who you'll see up on the wall there. As we mentioned earlier, virtual productions is many different things, and while the LED wall is certainly the centerpiece of our current build out here, we really see a lot of possibility with the folks in the film community working with mocap and face cap. So Beyond Capture Studios has done some incredible work especially in the video game industry. I'll just play a little bit of their reel, just being kind of a little bit mindful of time here, just to give you a kind of idea of some of the work that they've done.
And Paul and I have been working with Graham, who owns Beyond, for over 15 years. So it's, Graham has a Vancouver studio, as well as he has the biggest studio he just opened in Montreal about 8 months ago. So beautiful in the sense he does video games, he does film work, they do stunt viz. And we're super stoked to have Graham do a compartment of this learning, and how we blend, really with the virtual stage stuff and the mocap stuff, as we're blending these worlds together, digital and physical, right? So we're super excited about that.
Yeah, so I'll bring up the Rogues Gallery here to talk about some of the key creatives who are going to be providing their expertise. Paul Freminger, who you just heard from here from Fish Flight. Paul's got obviously like really an incredible list of credits coming from the visual effects industry and now certainly into the animation industry. If you've got a teenager under the age of 16, they are probably very familiar with Invincible, the incredible project from Robert Kirkman, who also did Walking Dead. It's available on Prime now. Lee J. Buckley, who maybe some of you worked with on Tales from the Loop, but also has like a really long history and has been kind of working with Unreal and mocap pipelines. He's been pushing a lot of research and innovation and headed a research studio for Amazon's Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. So he does a lot of stuff with motion control and virtual production, which is super cool. Christian Guevara from Bunker Digital. He's going to be working on a lot of the virtual art department stuff, which is a really important component of all of this of how do you get these worlds to kind of marry visually speaking. And Craig McEwen, who you've also heard from, who's also got a super long list. So that's what IMDb is for. You can check them out and see some of the things that they've done. And now I'm going to reveal the schedule here and talk about it with you all and hopefully get you excited. So we can happily check the first thing off the list, which is the virtual sessions, which are happening today. We have another session this evening. If you just can't get enough and you want to hear this exact same thing again, you can tune in today at 7 p.m. Winnipeg time. But we're going to do the intake starting today. It's Matt on the next slide is going to be passing out a Google form, and it's a very, very simple form, and you can just kind of fill it out, and then we'll kind of begin the intake process basically from now until hopefully, end of January will be the final cutoff, but hopefully we get everything buttoned up by mid-January. We've got a kickoff session with Paul happening live and direct here at StudioLab, tentatively scheduled for January 30th, which is in celebration of Manitoba Tech Week, which Media Manitoba is very happy to be a part of. So Paul will be doing his first session here at StudioLab. We've got a bunch of virtual mentorship on the story and pre-production side that's going to be running from February 1 to February 16th. Some of this stuff happens in tandem, so there'll also be virtual sessions and mentorship for the virtual art department, kind of running from February 6th to February 20th. On February 20th, Lee J. Buckley will be doing adapting film roles to virtual production virtual session. All these sessions are going to be recorded, by the way, as well too, so you can always catch them at a later point if you can't catch them live. On February 22nd and 23rd, we have some stage prep. And then the week of February 26th to March 1st is on set at StudioLab here. So a full week of shooting. We're hoping that the participant breakdown is going to allow us to run 4 to 5 teams, collaborative teams of 4 to 5 participants per team, and that these teams will be working together under the supervision of both Paul and Lee on set and with the team here at StudioLab to realize their vision. As I said before, there will be, practical set dressing, there will be costumes, there will be hair, there will be makeup, there will be all those good things that make a production feel real. But there will also be this brand new shiny toy, which is the LED wall, and a really cool virtual environment that involves a lot of shooting possibilities that Paul will take participants through during the mentorship process of how do you want to set up a scene? How do you want to set up a dialogue scene? How do you want to set up your establishing shot? All that sort of stuff is going to be covered by Paul, and Paul's really going to help people kind of rein in probably all the big ideas they have into the scope of what's achievable here and what's realistic. So he'll kind of be acting as the executive producer as well, and just making sure that we're actually able to do what you have in mind. But we really hope that you can unleash your creative ideas on this and really push this as far as we can, because we as a studio want to know hey, what's possible? Because we've done a ton of tours and everyone's asking me can I do this here? Can I do that here? And right now my answer is maybe, but I don't know because we haven't done anything yet. So we're just at that ground floor stage, and we want to give the people who know how to make movies the chance to make movies here. And then I can hopefully confidently answer people in the next couple of months that, yeah, you could actually do that here for sure. So after the the week onset, we have a series of motion capture workshops with Beyond Capture. So that's going to include, directing, working with actors, and then actually kind of like getting that information onto a digital creation. Working with eye lines for like non-humanoid characters or oversized characters. We're going to kind of cover all of that. So if you're if your vision involves a robot or something like that, and we can add that motion capture data to that digital robot, we could try and work that into the story. We're also going to do a visual effects for virtual production and world building in Unreal Engine. So if you want to take a cinematic shot like that's 100% CG and work it into the footage that you create here on stage, that is going to be facilitated. So that will be run live from our classroom here with an instructor to be determined, but also supported by our team here. And we hope we can cap this off with a screening. Maybe that's at On Screen Manitoba's All Access Festival, or maybe it's something else. But we really kind of want to have some kind of culminating event where we can all get together and watch what we've all made and talk about our lessons learned. And I can gather feedback of like how the studio can be improved, what sort of production workflow improvements can we put in place, and hopefully how can we make version 2 of next Virtual Production CoLab even better. Okay, so drum roll. How can you get involved? Uh, Matt, I'm going to get you to put the Google form in the link. The best way you can be involved, to be quite honest, is to be a member of one of our participating partners. So whether that be IATSE 856 or DGC Manitoba or the Camera Union, that definitely kind of puts you on the fast track for things, since they're kind of really supporting this project in a major way, and then we want to give those industry professionals kind of first dibs. After we do that initial intake, though, from members of the locals, we're also going to make a small amount of seats available to the general public at a paid price, and that pricing we can talk about at a later point. But right now, I would just I would fill out the form. As I said before, it is not onerous. It will take you all of 30 seconds to complete, but it will basically give us an idea of your current skill set, why you want to be involved, and what hopefully participating organization you are a member of. And yeah, the kind of the guiding light for me is this new cinematic language that we're all trying to create together. And I think this virtual production collab is going to be our chance to like basically all get together and figure out how we can all communicate effectively, how we can bring all our disparate skills and talents to bear on hopefully what we all love to do, which is make movies. And yeah, I'm just so excited for this to get started. It has begun in earnest, and I've seen like the flickers of how this is all going to work, whether it be having like a production designer here looking at the stage and figuring out how to block things out, or having a DP, thinking about, oh, what sort of lensing can I use for this size of stage? Like, I love to see all that stuff happening, and it's begun already. And I know that once this project spins up in 2024, it's going to be, that it's going to be that on Nitro, because there's going to be so many new voices that come into the stage who've got ideas of how they can use the tech. And we want to help facilitate that from a training perspective and then in an actual production perspective. So I'm going to stop talking now, and I did it right at 12:40, so perfect. I'm going to open up the floor to questions and answers, and hopefully I can answer as many questions as possible that you might have. I recognize that this is a very kind of intense training program, and that there's a lot of facets to it. Like I said before, I don't fully expect that everyone would want to take every single thing. If you do, more power to you. But yeah, why don't I open it up to questions? And Matt, they can either come through chat, or I think everyone has the power to unmute. So maybe just be respectful. I think there's about 30 people on, but so it's manageable. Actually, Craig, you've got your hand up, so why don't you start first?
Yeah, I just wanted to to elaborate on that motion capture session. The motion capture session we're really excited about because it's combining the technical / creators and directors, and then we're also bringing in performers. So what's really exciting for us is that we're going to be combining those two, and then having, you know, a performance, 2 days of performance, and then a director day with the performers, and then as well, Paul's going to do you know, a day of the life sort of thing of getting prepped, then doing mocap, then we're going to do VCam in the afternoon, and then we're going to do slap cutting it together in post. So actually showing that whole, you know, that whole cycle of how to do that. So, which is pretty exciting.
Thank you for that clarification, Craig. Any questions from the audience? There's got to be one or two. Come on.
Hello.
Hi.
Huge Reboot fan. Super cool.
Ah.
Is there
Nice.
anything geared more on the I'm IATSE 856? I'm in lighting. As sacrilegious as it sounds like, I don't see myself as a director, writer. I'm super interested in the technical side of things though.
Yes, I will say 100%. We would love to talk to you because we've got like there'll be a full DMX setup, and like
Okay.
how that works, how the real world, like we don't want to, I don't want to make anyone feel like they have to be the creative like driver of this. If you want to come in and you want to do the lighting for this, yes,
Totally.
that's what
And,
we like.
and learn the whole process. It seems like this is geared towards director
It's
type
not. It's
directors,
not.
which I'm
It's
not
geared to
necessarily.
everyone. Like if
Okay.
your art department, if you're lighting, and hey, if you're hair and makeup and you want to do the hair and makeup for a virtual production shoot, yes, please. Like every department should have a vector into this, like because it's just like a normal set. So like in that intake form, like just kind of like outline like what you're interested in. And like to be quite frank, like neither Matt or I are lighting experts. Like there are lights here in the grid and we can get more lights, but that's not our bag at all. So like we really need folks like you to be a part of this and to bring that in and to figure out how that lighting component works, like how real world lights interact with digital lights is going to be super interesting for us to discover.
And with regards to that, we're working with Paul and Liam. Lee's a cinematographer and a DP. So we're looking at it how we have stations of people rotating daily and stuff like that in teams, and using things such as the light console as well as the sky panels and stuff like that. Because what's super exciting about the sky panels and stuff is that we're able to take those palettes and color temperatures and stuff from the actual set, and now we're with metals and anything reflective, and even on the skin, right? That stuff is all going to be apparent in the shot, right? So that's one of the big pluses of using virtual production type thing, because we're getting reactive lighting, like real reactive lighting type thing. And so people, the technicians have grips, lighting, gaffers and stuff. It's all of that we need on virtual production sets, right? So this is what part of this curriculum is.
Yeah, I just want to add in that we have 5 days on set, and not everyone is going to be directing. There's really five main roles that we want people to cycle through, or to even focus on. Maybe you go through this whole thing and you focus from the perspective of a gaffer. I think the main thing that we want to do is to explain the high level of the process, and to um, get everyone into this virtual production mindset where on the tech viz stage, every department has input. Every department can learn how to read the tech viz, understand how that's going to affect them on the day, and also to make suggestions at that early stage, so that you're not just showing up and reacting. You're actually having a lot of input as you move forward. So we want to kind of give you the skills to have that.
And I will just make one more kind of note lighting wise. We are hopefully getting one of the first RGBA lights that are kind of driven by the same processors as the screen. So you'll be able to light, we'll be able to light subjects. We'll be able to light
That out of curiosity, the screen maker makes lights that connect to the screen somehow.
Well, this particular light is made by KinoFlow, and it just pipes through the processor.
Yeah,
so
the mimics. That's right.
Yeah,
I know the one.
yeah.
Cool.
So that type of tech will be on stage, and so you can light stuff with with the Unreal scene, or you can put whatever 2D plates you want in there too. So it should offer some new lighting scenarios for people who are really into that side of things.
So Kino makes the screen too? Sorry to
No, Kino doesn't make the screen.
Okay.
They're kind of the lighting partner we have for the in-house
I didn't think
lights.
so, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Cool. Thanks.
Right on.
Muting myself.
Anyone else?
I have a question.
Of course, Mary.
Hi, and I'm so excited to hear about this.
Right
I'm a
on.
DGC director and a writer and an actor. So this is exciting in many different ways. But my question is, script-wise, do we like come in with an idea or we develop that during the process? And then I have another question, but maybe I'll let you answer that first.
Yeah, I think the idea is like once we kind of set who the participants are, that there would be some mentorship sessions with like with Paul in particular, where you kind of go over like what your idea for the creative is based on the environments and what's possible. And we'll provide and Paul and Craig, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we'll provide like full fly-throughs of the environments so you can kind of see like all the virtual locations and that I think will sort of start getting the wheels turning. And I mean, there will be like some limitations, like you're probably not going to get more than two actors in the in the scene, so there'll be some constraints on the creative. But like, yeah, I think it's super amazing if like ideas are already cooking on like what you could put together with we've put in front of you. I think you know uh having people like you and then mixing in with people like Blaine who just want to do like one component of it is like really the idea that we had for this, and that everyone's going to kind of plug in together and collectively make this. And I think once the intake goes, you can start maybe coming up with that little concept and then running it by Paul, and Paul would say like, oh, okay, well, I don't know if this part with the blimp is going to work. Maybe you should introduce more clowns into the narrative or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like I think that'll be really powerful, and I'm hoping that like as a director you'll also get some knowledge transfer that has nothing to do with any of the tech, right? But like you've got all the benefit of tapping into someone with Paul's experience to help on those other kind of creative decisions as well.
Okay, awesome. That's great. And then as far as like crewing up and casting, like is that something that we're responsible for? Like if you say you don't get like people who are filling out the intake form who are in hair and makeup or wardrobe or something, like do we then
You don't have to worry about anything. Like quite honestly, like you should just like we want you focused on the creative and the learning. Like that's what we want. Like my job will be to put all those other missing elements that I'm sure will come up is figuring out solutions for that. So I will put out all those fires. You just come with your good ideas and like an enthusiasm and an open mind. And I think that's all you need to do.
Oh, sweet. Okay, so you're basically producing them.
Yes, my name will be huge at the beginning. Produced by. No, I'm just here to solve problems. That will be like my ultimate role here is just to solve as many problems, and I'm sure there'll be lots. I don't want to make any I don't want to sugarcoat it. Like it's a huge new tech stack for us here. It's the first time we're doing that here. So there will be lots of little things that will probably go wrong. So my job will be to hopefully make as many of those problems go away as possible.
Awesome. Great. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Oh, can we take a quick peek at the sets again? The three?
Yeah, sure. Let me see if I can backtrack here. Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's just yeah, go ahead,
I
Craig.
was just gonna say that yeah, the reason we went space hangers is that I'd say the number one use of LED walls has been genre, has been sci-fi, and so that's our kind of sci-fi set. And the reason we chose the concert hall is because another common use for this tech is if you can't shoot in a location, then you can create it like if it's a location that you can't lock down, don't have access to, or maybe it's too small to actually shoot in, then you can build it in 3D and shoot in there. So that's why we have the concert hall. And same thing with the European street is that this is going to be 1920s, 1930s. So it's just if you need to shoot in a location that no longer exists, then that's another common usage for it. So that's why we kind of ended up with this grouping of scenarios.
And I will note, I told Paul this as well, there will not be a grand piano in the scene practically. That does not fit. So downscale, think drums, think
I
oboes or whatever.
I
Yeah.
noticed the Whiplash reference. You're
Yeah.
really pushing for the drums.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
There was a question in chat from Mary. It was, do you accept people who are new to the field?
Yes, I mean we accept anyone can apply like to this in this intake form. Anyone can apply. Like if you're new to the union, then that's totally fine. As I said, we'll have a limited number of public seats, and yeah, we think this tent is big enough that anyone can come. Because what I really like about this is that like all of this is kind of so new right now, like in how it's working to a certain perspective with Unreal, that there's not a lot of hierarchy to a certain degree, and that there's a 19-year-old sitting next to me who knows way more about Unreal than I do. I think like everyone's vision and skills and experience is valuable for this. So just please just have a look at the intake form and fill it out, and we'll review all of them. And hopefully, if you want to be here and it all works out, we'd love to have you.
And virtual production is just another tool for us, right? And it's not going to be it's not going to replace being on location, but you can do a lot of stuff, right? So
yeah,
we're working through in this workshop. We want to be able for people to see opportunities as well as what are the good things that we can do on virtual sets and with this size set, and then also how we're all filmmakers, right? So there's different things that we need in our tool set, and so it's helping educate and as well seeing opportunities of what we can shoot in these places.
Yeah. 100%. Okay, well, one last question if anyone has one. If not, I'll let you get back on with your day. You can always feel free to email me after the fact. My email, Matt will put it in the chat. It's just john@newmediamanitoba.com. If a question comes to you later, or if you need some additional clarification, please feel free to email me at any point. I'm happy to answer questions. If you're interested in a tour of the space to see what it's all about, I'm happy to arrange that in early 2024 as well too. We've had lots of people come by, and as I said before, I really love it when I can see the wheels start turning in people when they see like, okay, this is how this all works, and oh, I could see what I could make here. I really like that process, and we just want to facilitate as many of those creative and technical discussions as we can with this space. And it's really the space was designed for Manitobans to give them access and to provide training. So that's our mandate. And this virtual production collab is so unique. Like there's really nothing that I've seen like this that's going to give you this much opportunity to work with this technology. And I know it's kind of been a long time coming to the province, and there's been some kind of fits and starts on that front from a commercial point of view. But we think that this is here now. It's not an idea. The wall is behind me. The camera is behind me. The lights are behind me. It's all almost ready to go. So we just need some creative people in the room and some magic to happen. So we really hope you'll sign up and that you'll be with us here in 2024 to be part of this training program.